Hello, I'm Omari Grattan, and this is my mind map with my beliefs, values, experiences, practices, purposes, and aspirations, my situation, relationships, and symbols. I added 5 new categories today to show you guys, and 5 subcategories for each of those categories. 5 of the ones that I want to highlight from those new categories begins first with my experiences. The one I wanted to highlight was my internship at my dream job. My dream job has been to be a sports agent, and the reason why I moved to Arizona was because when I was playing basketball in New York at my first college, Bard College, it was upstate New York. Um, I was initially in their engineering program. They had a 3-2 program, which is kind of an accelerated program where you do 3 years at Bard, do accelerated courses, and then as long as you obtain a certain GPA, you get automatic admission into Columbia's engineering program where you go for another 2 years. And the reason why this program was attractive to me was because you don't just graduate with your bachelor's, you actually graduate with your master's in engineering in whatever field you decide. Through going through that program, I decided that engineering wasn't actually for me. I wanted to kind of get more into a business focus, and then as I kind of started to think more about it, I really wanted to become a sports agent in a more specific field. Sports agency, sports management was a business that I really wanted to get into. When I was looking at potential colleges, I was really just looking for a business program because my previous institution, Bard, did not actually offer business courses. They only offered economics. So I had to transfer. So I looked at a bunch of different schools, ended up liking Grand Canyon universities just because of Jerry Colangelo and the kind of historics that comes with him in Arizona when it comes to sports and business as a whole. So that was kind of my reasoning for moving to Arizona. And then once I came down here, I ended up getting connected through my uncle is a pretty prolific basketball coach in Seattle, and I ended up getting connected with a sports agency that has an office in Arizona but is based out of New York, LA, and Chicago, but they also have offices all over the globe. Somewhere, for instances, is Spain, Paris, Belgium, Germany. They have locations in the Middle East and Iraq, and the agency is called Octagon Sports. Octagon, they do more than sports. They represent chefs, TV personalities, soccer players, NASCAR drivers, football, volleyball, gymnastics. So it's a pretty big agency. I got to start in their MBA department because I wanted to start in basketball. It's the field that I know the strongest of what they represent and offer. So I got my first job with them as an intern this past summer, and I got to kind of see what the ins and outs of being a sports agent felt like, and just what kind of came with that job. And it was kind of a dream come true. I'm now on my second term of interning with them, and hopefully to lead to a full-time position. And that's kind of it's been an ongoing process with them, but it's also been a really great experience that I've gotten to have, and I've been lucky enough to have. Next, I want to take you guys to the relationships in the kind of goldish orange color. And the one I wanted to highlight was my relationship with God. It's definitely one that I think that is very unique, because I think that every person's relationship with God is unique because it is very based on your own personal experiences that you have in your relationship with Him. For me, my relationship with God has kind of manifested through it being kind of forced, I'd say, at a younger age, but then as I kind of grew older and older and started to deal with more serious problems, for example, my mom was struggling with lupus when I was in second grade and was in and out of the hospital back and forth for a long period of my second and third grade years. She had an open heart surgery, and coming out of that, I didn't really think too much of it. But then once I kind of got to like eighth grade and ninth grade and it started to bubble back up, I started to understand how serious this problem was. But also around that age, I also learned that the procedure was actually a 50-50, and it's something that I didn't know in second grade, but knowing now, it really kind of, the only justification I seemed to be able to find was that there was guardian angels around my mother. And a lot of my relationship with God has been through how he has protected and guarded not just me, but more importantly my mother, because she's been the single parent who I've grown up with around me. So it's someone who I hold a lot of protection over and want to see be with me for as long as possible. And then on top of that, this past year or 2 years ago, when I was still in New York, I made a decision to leave my campus a semester early before I was getting ready to transfer to Arizona, because my mom, on top of her lupus diagnosis, was also diagnosed with cervical cancer. The doctors didn't know how much longer she would have, and it was definitely a really hard thing on my family. So my relationship with God has been kind of the one thing through all of these tough moments in my life that has been able to bring me some sort of stability or peace, and it's something that I hold really close to me. I don't take it for granted by any means. I definitely make sure that every person that I want to hold close to me, and on top of my relationship with God, is all kind of in unison, because I know that everything I'm able to provide for the people I love is because of the abilities that God has given me, and I always take the time to thank him for that, and I think that's important. It's something that I do in my own personal, and it's something that I've used because of just the personal experiences I've had with him. So it's a relationship that I definitely wanted to highlight, because it's not a typical relationship like a mother, father, sister relationship. Even though I do have those on here, it is a kind of not as standard of a relationship that people might put on here. Next, I wanted to take you guys to my purpose. And my purpose that I added was to give my mother the experiences she didn't get because of raising me at a young age. My mother had me when she was 19, going on 20 years old. And at a young age, you have to also grow up really fast. And that's something that came with a lot of missed experiences, such as kind of just being young and free and exploring the world. And something that I've always thought about in my purpose of trying to work hard to give back to my mother is not really in a sense of a denomination of money, and not saying I'm just going to give my mom money and that's the goal, but the plan is to kind of, in a way, give her back that time that she didn't get to have experience in things because she had to focus on raising me and doing things like taking her to tour the world. She always talks about wanting to see Spain because we have some Spanish descent, and that's something that I want to be able to give to her. So just kind of my purpose and also an aspiration of mine is to be able to give my mom back experiences and time that she may not have gotten to experience at my age or at even a younger age because of the obligations and kind of priorities that she had to have in place at the time of raising me. So that's definitely something that I'm aspiring to, and I feel like is part of my purpose for doing everything that I do to help her get the time back that she might have did for me, because she gave everything up.